Our first speaker will be Mr. Imtiaz Gul, and our second speaker will be online with us, Alice Draper, and third speaker, Mark is here. Mark will be the third speaker, and our keynote speaker, General Janjua, will be the last speaker. So now I invite Mr. Imtiaz Gul. All of you know him. He is the Executive Director, Center for Research and Security Studies, Islamabad. Very active with the neighboring countries, particularly in Afghanistan, with Afghanistan in track through diplomacy. I'm sure that we will come up with some important points on Pakistan's relationship with Afghanistan, and probably he will be able to say things which nobody else should be able to say from this stage, from this dais today. Mr. Imtiaz.
Done here, though we have been dealing with the issue for over 4 decades. And can we learn from China? As I think Professor Zhang laid out in the previous session, development and security parallel. We have securitized our approaches, looking at everything from the security prism. Xinjiang, I think, offers us the best example. I remember it from 2008, 2009, when we were moving through Urumqi, encounter police every 200 meters, 300 meters. So now, a few months ago, I visited Urumqi again. The number of police stations has gone down by more than half. Police stations have been removed, and instead, you have other commercial facilities coming up. Just because the Chinese government threw a lot of money at the development, created jobs, infrastructure. So that gave a lot of people the confidence to stand by the government. But in our case, we have still a long way to go to synchronize our strategy of development and security. Counterterrorism. We cannot really all the time hide behind this counterterrorism strategy, making it as a pretext for not entering into embarking on development projects, which could ensure jobs, which could give people confidence. So I think the last question I would posit here is, do we have the intellectual wherewithal and the political will to emulate China and Turkey, our best friends, as far as dealing with issues such as refugees, counterterrorism, smuggling is concerned? Are we doing enough before placing demands on Afghanistan, whether it's refugees, trade, smuggling, or terrorism? Thank you very much. About how experienced I am in Afghanistan. I recall the 1989 March when the 7 Mujahideen groups were fighting over slots in the interim government in Rawalpindi at the Hajj complex, and we used to travel from Islamabad to Rawalpindi, and we also used to cut jokes at what will happen once they agree on the interim government, and we'll be left half jobless because the story will die down. But here we are, dealing with an endless story. Afghanistan, Pakistan-Afghanistan relations. Now, the subject is about Pakistan-Afghanistan relations and counterterrorism. We have to look at it first from 2 dimensions as far as the bilateral relationship is concerned. This relationship suffers from a big brotherly patronage behavior, driven by a tactical mindset. I wouldn't say whose tactical mindset, but this is a tactical mindset. Our responses and rules of engagement largely are defined by expectations which are partially legitimate and partially unrealistic, given the long history of conflict in Afghanistan. Having dealt with Afghanistan for such a long time, I have to say that lack of a long-term strategy and an absent legal framework for adoption, naturalization of refugees or their children born here, despite the compulsion of having to deal with an issue just next door, with a neighbor with 2,560 kilometer long border, and we don't have a long-term strategy to deal with that. It's more whimsical. It's knee-jerk reactions. This is what has landed us in trouble. This is what has caused the lack of trust and lack of goodwill that we had in Afghanistan for quite some time. Now, and this has two dimensions. First is the refugees. So we, for quite some time, for most of the time I think, have looked at this issue with, looked at the relations with Afghanistan through the refugee prism, treating refugees as a leverage, as a big favor to Afghanistan. Our officials inadvertently spoil a lot of bilateral conversations by willfully or inadvertently alluding to the presence and the hosting of Afghan refugees, over 3 million or 4 million for all these years. So I have experienced firsthand any reference by the Pakistanis to Afghans about we have hosted your refugees. It irritates them, annoys them, like beyond imagination. One, I remember in a conversation with one of the Afghan ambassadors, I just touched the issue and he said, well, please stop here. You know, these are the things that they don't say officially when they are meeting.
That's why our counterterrorism strategy extends to the root causes of radicalization. We work with civil society actors, educational institutions, and local governments to promote pluralism, civic education, and inclusive development. Programs linked to British Council and our Integrated Security Fund aim to empower youth with access to quality education and support voices that challenge these extremist narratives. Given the deep ties between the UK and Pakistani diaspora communities, we also invest in community cohesion and counter-extremism efforts within the UK, recognizing the need for joint responsibility in countering ideological threats that transcend these borders. The regional security architecture of South and Central Asia has been greatly impacted by the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan in 2021. For Pakistan, the implications have been profound. A resurgence of the TTP, cross-border militancy, and heightened instability in both KP and Balochistan. The UK views the situation with great concern. Our objective is to prevent Afghanistan from becoming a safe haven for international terrorism, while also encouraging regional coordination to manage the security profile. The UK does not recognise the Taliban regime, but remains diplomatically engaged, aimed at encouraging the severance of ties between the Taliban and terrorist groups, supporting counter-terrorism collaboration among Pakistan, Central Asia, and the wider international community, and maintaining humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan to prevent state collapse, a scenario that can empower extremist networks.
In this, that we have to find the ways for peace and prosperity. What is this turbulent time? Very briefly. A hostile Eastern Front, and now a hostile Western Front. On our one wing, we are hanging and carrying India, on the other, Afghanistan. And ourselves, we are sitting on a seesaw of global competition. This push and pull. So how do you continue to fly with such heavyweights on both your sides and with such global competition? I think we need to shed off some. We need to become lighter. And for this seesaw also, we have to think objectively as to what is the way forward. because your 20 years have been eaten by USSR. Your next 20 years have been eaten by US and NATO. And do you want to give another 20 years to this global competition? I will touch all very briefly and make my suggestions. Ladies and gentlemen, first India. A few words only. It has become a perpetual threat for us. We have always tried to coexist peacefully, but it doesn't seem plausible so far. Our disputes are not being resolved, they are rather multiplying. So the baggage between us is becoming heavier, and we don't see that a near future will offer us some pathways. For the present, for the ongoing situation, we have told them very clearly, don't come our way. Take care of your own house. Hold those who are accountable for such an act which we condemn. Don't come towards us. We will be too costlier. Period. Yes. For the future, ladies and gentlemen, I think our inner strength, our democratic values, our people, our economic progression will sustain this relationship with India, inshallah. And since we both are nuclear power, I hope from this crisis also and onwards we learn fast that while we are both nuclear powers, we are capable to destroy each other. If we can't be friends, let's not be the enemy. Perhaps that should be our relationship with India, if that be. Now coming to Afghanistan, under the shadow of terrorism. Please mark my words, under the shadow of terrorism. We are hurt. We did not expect this from Afghanistan. The TTP, which was defeated, dislocated by us, was housed there because we valued the sovereignty of Afghanistan. We did not expect that they will use the Afghan soil and will hurt us. We are angry. Imtiaz Gul Sahab has sufficiently highlighted. But let me briefly face some cold, objective questions. Ladies and gentlemen, broken in 1971, USSR coming in Afghanistan in 79. Whatever the situation was at that time, our vulnerability situation. If we did not stand with Afghanistan, please listen to my question. if we did not stand with Afghanistan at that time, could there have been an Afghanistan? Because it was USSR, a superpower, coming to Afghanistan. A resilient nation can fight back. Let's for a time assume we did not stand with them, and there was USSR. So whose neighbor we would have been? USSR and India? Let's forget the theory of warm waters, because in our hindsight we have become so scholarly that we say, no, he was not there for warm waters. What does Afghanistan offer? A ready market, which can really multiply our private sector. Massive trade route. Massive energy corridor. Peaceful Western Front. Now what has happened? What has happened? Now please, there's Afghanistan, there's TTP. When TTP started attacking us, we looked at Afghanistan through the lens of TTP. This is very logical. Please connect with me. Like now, an event has happened in India, Kashmir, and they are looking at us through the lens of that event. And they are making a mountain of that mold. How are they treating us? So TTP and whatever they did, it is through that lens that we have been looking at Afghanistan. I personally feel that we should have looked at the TTP through the lens of Afghanistan to find a solution. Afghanistan under the shadow of terrorism. Look at your mindset. If you want to read terrorism first, it's your choice. If you want to read Afghanistan first, it's your choice. So this is what has happened out of this ugly situation. And I personally feel that TTP has spoiled this show.
And compatibility, and we will now look at this relationship in the context of changes where regional connectivity driven by economy, energy, ports, pipelines, roads and railways is a living reality through different initiatives, whether it's the Belt and Road, whether it's SCO, whether it's ECO. And we start with a very important keynote speaker, Mr. Asfar Asim. Mr. Asfar Asim is a man of ideas, a man of action. He is, I would probably say, the leading investment czar of Pakistan. Czar, I call him because he is a hands-on approach to investment, not in a theoretical context. And he was also Minister of State and Chairman of the Board of Investment. And he knows investors and investment from the Gulf countries and other foreign countries like the palm of his hand. And I would like him to not to give a theoretical presentation, but based on the track record of Pakistan and based on building a roadmap for the future and what are the impediments, what are the ground realities, and how do we go forth in building this regional connectivity where Pakistan is at the hub, surrounded by China, Central Asian republics, Iran, Afghanistan, and South Asia, and then we have the Gulf countries. So I think that we have to leverage our location and our role to build this regional connectivity. The opportunity is there, and we just have to seize it with the right initiative and the right approach. Over to you, Excellency. Thank you.
Time. The post-lunch speech is always very hard because the speaker also almost sleepy now. First of all, I'm grateful to the President, Ambassador Jawhar Salim, the IRC team, and all the organizing committee members for inviting me here today. I must compliment all of you for the initiation of this wonderful conference. I attended some of the sessions yesterday, and since morning I'm here and attended few sessions. I must say that the dialogue, the overall content of the discussions, the keynote speakers, the panelists, the session chairs, this was really productive and commendable. I think that IRC people are the futurists also, because you were aware that what will be the scenario in this week between Pakistan and India. So thank you, Vishai Saab, for my brief introduction. You mentioned about to talk on Pakistan's investment landscape as well, the ground reality, the future roadmap. So I will try to cover my talk in three different parts. First is the data and the overall regional collaboration. And the second is the Pakistan's investment landscape. In the end, I will try to link all these points with the regional connectivity, collaboration, joint ventures, and the overall potential with challenges and what should be the roadmap of Pakistan. So as per the current census, our population size is 250 million now. And by 2047, when we will be 100 years old, we will cross 400 million. Out of the all population, our 65% population is under 30 years of age. And with the population of 250 million today, Pakistan is the world's 5th largest nation. Number 1 is India, and this is a shift from last year, not China. China is number 2nd, Indonesia number 3rd, US number 4th, and Pakistan number 5th. Pakistan is also an epicenter of 5 billion people in our surroundings, from Central Asia to Far East to Southeast Asia to China, India, Middle East, and Africa. So its strategic position is very important as far as the Pakistan is concerned. We also observed in the last 20-25 years that the growth in Asia and now in Middle East and Africa changed the entire paradigm of businesses as well as the trade and investment. The rise of China, the rise of India, the rise of some Middle Eastern countries, and the countries like Vietnam and also Indonesia, Malaysia, Turkey, and now some of the African countries is an eye-opener, and it's a big opportunity, not only for Pakistan, but for the entire region. So this shift is an evidence that the future is Asia and the future is Africa. So this is my point 1. The second, I will focus on the Pakistan's investment landscape, the business landscape, the overall economy, the fundamental issues, the barriers, challenges, the red tapes, and what should be the roadmap for Pakistan. And in the end, in the third part, I will connect again with the regional collaboration part. So, as far as the investment is concerned, whether you talk about the hard facts, this is very difficult to share the hard facts sometimes. But if I evaluate the last 37 years, so there are two parts of 37 years. One is from 1988 to 1999, where we experienced 2 governments each of PPP and PMLN, and 3 caretaker governments. From 1999 till today, we experience one government each of PPP, PMLN and PTI, one military-led government by General Musharraf, 4 caretaker governments, and also this is the second government of PDM, including Pakistan People's Party, PMLN, and multiple other parties, including PMLQ and NQM. In last 37 years, we attracted $58 billion as the net FDI. I'm talking about only $5 billion in 11 years. From 1999 till today, in last 25 years, we attracted $50 billion. So per annum is only $2 billion on average. From 1999 to 2008, we attracted $18.9 billion. From 8 to 13, during the PPP tenure, we attracted $9.8 billion. From 13 to 18, during the PMLN tenure, we attracted $10.3 billion. During the tenure of PTI of 3 years and 10 months, we attracted $7.7 billion. And then PDM1 government, where we attracted $1.55 billion. During the caretaker government of Senator Kakar, he was here yesterday, of 5 months, we attracted $863 million. And in the last 1 year, we attracted around $1.63 billion. So this is on average a similar performance of every government as far as the collective number or FDI is concerned. This is on average $2 billion per annum since last 25 years. So this is the picture in black and white. The FDI scenario and the FDI formula is that any country's FDI should be the 3% of your GDP. So our GDP size is $376 billion. As per the GDP formula, our minimum FDI, net FDI should be around $11.5 billion. But we are continuously engaging the number of $2 billion. So this year we attracted around 1.6 something. So my forecast is that by the end of this year, in June 2025, our number will be around 2.1 to 2.2 billion dollars. So there is no massive change except some percentage change, because the last year our number was 1.9 billion dollars, and in 2022-23 our FDI number was 1.76 billion dollars. So first we should understand the picture in black and white, and what we should speak the truth, like we are evaluating the balance sheet of our organizations. This is black or this is white. Without understanding the fundamentals and without creating the foundation, this is difficult to manage a country of 250 million, which is world's 5th largest nation. We are a classic example. And I'm talking about every government. And I want to share a disclaimer that I'm not representing any specific government. I'm a pure Pakistani, I'm a technocrat, and I always talk about the state of Pakistan. So we are a classic example of ad hocism and the short-term plans. With a country of 250 million, we should understand, if we are talking about the economy, exports, IT, we are talking about the population growth, education, health, infrastructure, tourism, anything, any segment of our life or any sector of our economy. We should design the roadmap for next 20-25 years. So there is an absence of a strategy in every sphere of our life. I'm talking about the national life. And there is no continuation also. So if we do the comparison with India, India was behind us till 1991. Their GDP was behind us, their corporations were behind us. What happened in the last 34 years? Their corporations are global, they are one of the top economic power. There are over 50 global CEOs of MNCs are Indian nationals. 2 reasons. This is my learning. One is the continuation of governments, and second is the investment in their infrastructure of education. And this is not restricted to only IIMs and IITs of this world, but the overall education infrastructure they built in the last 60, 70 years. Here, we are investing very minor number as far as the investment is concerned. And in my opinion, the biggest threat to Pakistan is not the economy or not India. In the long term, the biggest threat to Pakistan is 28 million kids out of the school. We are not providing them education, and we are not providing them vocational training, jise hum hunar kehte hain. And there are few million people who are part of the public sector schools where they can only write their name after the matriculation. So this is the factual status. Around 40 million kids are with this status. So what we are expecting when the population will be double? Because there is no control of population growth in Pakistan. There is no plan. So we should raise this question, and this should be the emergency, this should be the priority. And I'm not talking about to provide education to everyone. The most important is the vocational training to everyone. Because as far as they utilize our potential, this youth bulge is huge. It's up to us how we can convert this youth bulge into our asset. The third, I want to do the comparison with other regional countries as far as the FDI is concerned. And here I will highlight that how regional connectivity and why regional connectivity is important for Pakistan. Not only with Central Asia, Iran, China, India, Far East, but also the Middle East. The growth of Middle East is phenomenal, and now the Africa as well. So for example, last year, 9 African countries, FDI was better than us. Egypt was around $9.67 billion. Ethiopia was $5 billion. Then countries like Mozambique, Namibia, Congo, and others, the Nairobi, their performance were better than us. I mentioned about India. India's FDI last year was $49.6 billion. Vietnam was $36.47 billion. Indonesia was around $47 billion. Turkey was $12 billion. Malaysia was $11.5 billion. The United Arab Emirates was $30.7 billion. Qatar was $29 billion. Oman was $58 billion only last year. Saudi was $13 billion. China was $33 billion. China's numbers is less because their outflows are huge. They are investing globally. So $33 billion was the FDI number of China. And if we are talking about the Central Asian countries, the Kazakhstan number was above $18 billion. Uzbekistan was around $10 billion. Azerbaijan was around $7.7 billion. Bangladesh was around $4 billion. So why I'm doing comparison? Because we should understand that despite all the huge potential, despite an epicenter of 5 billion people around the world, Pakistan, despite an excellent talent, excellent human resources, despite excellent location, why we are still here, that since last 25 years, our average FDI number is $2 billion. If I'm calculating the 37 years, from 88 till today, this is $1.5 billion. So there is a need of big rethinking about our system. The problem is within the system. We are passing the time. Our target is only next 1 year or 2 years. Impractical. Whatever we are talking, but trust me, our target, this is my learning. You may disagree with me. But we are practically working for next 6 months, 8 months, or 10 months, or sometime 3 months in every government. Because if this is not the case, why the numbers are telling the other story? I'm not referring the last 4 or 5 years numbers. I'm not sharing the last 10 years number. I'm sharing the last 37 years number. The story is same. There is only one country in Pakistan, and this is our FDI number. So, as I mentioned, that there is a need of big rethink about overall system, overall policies, and there is a need of political stability in this country. There is no political stability since last many decades. There is a need to engage every political stakeholder for the dialogue. Talking about the CPAC projects, I'm talking about the pure FDI as per the State Bank of Pakistan data. We are talking too much about the Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabia, my belief is, because I'm working very closely with the Saudi government, the Riyadh is the most happening place today in the world. Their public investment fund size is over $1 trillion. By 2030, they will cross $2 trillion. 2030 Expo is happening there, 2034 World Cup is happening there. They decided to be the superpower of every sector of their economy. They decided not to be the oil-rich country anymore. My favorite leader is Mohammed bin Salman. How he transformed the country, how he empowered the woman. Only in Ministry of Industries and Ministry of Energy, the size of the woman population is 35%. In all the airports, all over, he empowered the woman. They invested, not only Mohammed bin Salman, but the Saudi government invested in the last 20-25 years in education. If you are visiting the public sector of Saudi Arabia today, this is no more the royal family leading the ministries. This is the top talent of Saudi nationals leading the ministries, leading the public sector organizations. They invested in education. The graduates are coming from Ivy League universities, and now there is a rule since last 2 years that minimum 2 years experience outside Saudi Arabia for all these graduates after this scholarship is important. And they are returning to Saudi Arabia and they are serving their corporations. So this is the new phase of Saudi Arabia. Our strategic relationship is excellent. This is their requirement. Ambassador Gilani is here, Ambassador Johar is here, many senior persons are here. They all are aware that our strategic locations are excellent because we are their requirement. But as far as the business and economy is concerned, we are the losers. Saudi was my project when I was part of the government, and I'm still working in the same capacity, in my personal capacity, with the same Saudi investment minister. They invested $21 billion in Uzbekistan, Ambassador Zab, only in last 5 years. $21 billion. And now they designed a package for $12 billion for the next 3 years. We attracted only $495 million, $500 million in the last 15 years from Saudi Arabia. Others are all subsidies and the support for petroleum and other things. Saudi aapko paise nahi dega. You have to provide them the projects, bankable projects, the realistic projects, and you have to facilitate their existing investors. One of their biggest investors is Al-Jamai Group, the owners of K Electric in Karachi. For the last 20 years, they failed to pick any investment amount from here. Now Wafi Energy, the Al Sayyad Group, invested in Pakistan. They acquired the Shell operations. We hosted their chairman last month here in Pakistan. They are planning to invest in 3-4 projects. But if their first project will be failed and they will be in trouble, they will never invest. So my suggestion is, in every forum I am sharing this is building a narrative actually, that instead of looking towards FDI, Pakistan for the next 3 to 5 years should focus 90% or maybe 98% on the existing investors. Existing investors includes all the foreign investors already invested in Pakistan and all the Pakistani investors, the big boys, the mid-size and the small ones. If you are evaluating, I will take 3 minutes. If you are evaluating the top 10, 15 countries attracting FDI, and you can verify the data of last 20-25 years, one thing is common. Their existing investors created wealth. They are satisfied, they are confident, they are motivated. Only then they can do the joint ventures and FDI flow is natural. Only talking about FDI and the MOUs of $2.8 billion because there is no value of MOU in today's business world. Since last 2 years we are talking about Saudi investment, there is no investment coming as far as the B2B is concerned. You can only finalize the Rhetoric and others. But trust me, and I can guarantee you, I'm saying with complete responsibility, that till today, there is no B2B investment is finalized. This is not the criticism. This is the truth. We are avoiding to speak the truth because of our insecurities. Pakistan is first or individuals are first. So this is my message to focus on Pakistani investors, the foreign existing investors, plan a strategy, engage everyone, all the concerned stakeholders for next 20-25 years, for economy, for some big issues. Baki aap ladte hain jo aapne karna hai. So these are the challenges. There are many other points, but the time is short. In the end, I want to say that I highlighted the picture in black and white. And in the end, I want to share the 2 positive points also. The State Bank of Pakistan started Russian digital account. You were in Uzbekistan during the time. Today, the State Bank of Pakistan deposit number is $9.4 billion. This is not an investment scheme. These are the deposits of overseas Pakistanis. So hardly 15-20 overseas percent Pakistanis invested their 5% or 2%, not their entire wealth. But the number is $9.4 billion. You all know about the Dubai leads. We were the 3rd biggest investor as far as the official declared property numbers is concerned. Our number was $9.8 billion. Unofficial was over $31 billion. So I'm not talking about the unofficial number, I'm talking about the official number, which is a declared property. I can refer 15, 16 more areas. So 9.4 and 9.8 is $19.2 billion. IMF calculator है. The potential is here. आपको अपने घर का किबला काबा सही करना है, अपनी फाउंडेशन को सही करना है. जब तक फाउंडेशन सही नहीं होगी, because we are not a small European or African or Middle Eastern or Far Eastern country. We are world's 5th largest nation. That's why this data is important with everything related to Pakistan. Without this long-term plan, without fixing the problem, without establishing the solid foundation, we will continue these dialogues again and again. Since last 3 years, I'm talking the same. In the same hall, in every seminar, I talk the same. 3 years, my talk is same, 100%, not 99%. People are listening also, but there is no implementation. So this is the time for me to team for the sake of Pakistan. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you very much. And you spoke with passion, conviction, and a track record of success, and based on ground realities. And I think the focus on education, having a strategy, and also looking at 28 million out of school kids. I think that's extremely important. And I'd just like to give you some other mind-boggling figures on investment. 2 countries, UAE and Saudi Arabia, have promised President Trump that they will invest $2 trillion in the United States in the next 10 years. UAE $1.4 trillion and Saudi Arabia $600 billion. And these 2 countries, UAE and Saudi Arabia, have promised that Saudi Arabia will invest $100 billion in India in the next 10 years, and UAE will invest $75 billion in India in the next 10 years. So these are the figures. Thank you very much. Now we would like to welcome our distinguished guest from Iran, His Excellency Dr. Murtaza Damne Pak Jami, a very experienced ambassador of Iran to different countries, who's also served as Vice President of the main think tank in Tehran, IPIS. We warmly welcome you, sir, because you come from Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran, which is a brotherly country. Iqbal-e-Lahori is a common heritage, and like Pakistan, Iran too has faced and is facing sanctions which are wrong. We reject those sanctions, and we hope that your recent talks with the United States through different Gulf countries will achieve success, and there will be an agreement, inshallah, hopefully, between Iran and the United States on the nuclear issue, so that there can be enduring peace, security, and stability in the region. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Senator Mushar Hussain, for your kind words and giving me the floor. At the outset, I would like to thank the Institute of Regional Studies for inviting me to attend this important and timely regional dialogue on behalf of IPIS, and for organizing the session on Iran-Pakistan Central Asian connectivity and cooperation. The theme, Pathways to Peace and Prosperity in Turbulent Times, selected for this forum, is wise and thoughtful. In the last 60 to 70 decades, West Asia has been the scene of instability and unrest. It has been burning in the flames of war, aggression, occupation, foreign interference, terrorism, and religious and sectarian extremism. No other region in the world has been in such a high level of tension and bloodshed. However, this region has never experienced a period as turbulent and tumultuous as we have witnessed today. The savage war of the Zionist regime against the defenseless people of Gaza is the latest of this kind. But contrary to the destructive efforts of destabilizing forces in the region, the point of departure from this chaotic situation is to listen to the forces of stability and peace. This is relevant to what I'm intending to elaborate in my presentation, which will focus on the Iranian neighborhood policy and its role in Eurasian connectivity. I will try to answer three questions. First, how important is the connectivity in the dynamics of global economy? Well, the fact is that in a transitional world order that faces a shift in power and wealth from the west to east and to the global south, parallel to the unending conflicts and competitions for power and influence, there is also a competition for building the foundation of future economic order between regional and global powers in various regions, especially in the Indian Ocean, South China Sea, Caspian Sea, Black Sea, Mediterranean, and the Persian Gulf. For various reasons, and considering recent developments in the geopolitical arena of these regions, including the war in Ukraine, tensions in the South Caucasus, the Israeli invasion of Gaza and Lebanon, and recent development in Syria and the Red Sea, the issue of connectivity between production supply centers and demand consumer markets has gained extraordinary importance. There is also another important development regarding the connectivity issue. With the increasing role of emerging economies in the global production and supply chains, the main passage of many corridors towards the West is mostly concentrated in West Asia and Eurasia. Another important assumption about connectivity is that the concept is not about transit and transport itself, since most of undergoing corridors are multidimensional that incorporate various infrastructure projects on the construction and modernization of ports, power plants, railways, fiber cables, pipelines, etc. So it seems that in a competitive and conflict-ridden environment, the power of connectivity to facilitate rapid and secure shipment of goods and energy resources to consuming markets has become a vital issue for major economic powers to reach their trading and development partners in different parts of these regions. This brings me to the second question. What role Iran can play to build economic bridges with Eurasia? Iran, Pakistan, and Central Asia share a common historical and cultural identity and have been trading along the historical Silk Roads for many centuries. The urgent need for the landlocked Central Asian republics after the collapse of the Soviet Union and independence of these countries to reach the regional and international markets brought all these countries plus Azerbaijan and Afghanistan alongside Iran, Pakistan, and Turkey to join Economic Cooperation Organization in the early 1990s. In addition, due to rising security concerns, some of these countries, namely Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, became members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where China, Pakistan, and Iran are also members. While SCO has been successful to some extent in its regional security programs, ECO, being the main regional platform for economic cooperation on energy, transport, and trade as priority areas, has not been that much successful and did not achieve the expectations due to the lack of proper participation of its member states in regional projects, regional rivalries, and role of external factors. However, time has taught us that if you do not move further, the time machine will not wait for you. That's why I believe Iran and Pakistan should take the lead in ECO and in any other regional platforms such as IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation, to realize opportunities for development of trade and cooperation on energy. As for Iran, due to its natural geographical location and being in the middle of two important waterways, namely Caspian Sea and the Persian Gulf, the country for many centuries has acted as a safe and fast connecting link in the crossroad of east and west of the world and has played an undeniable role in the prosperity and maintenance of the historical Silk Roads. In the post-Cold War era, Iran's route has become even more important, particularly for the landlocked Central Asian countries to access the global markets and for connecting the production and supply centers in the South Asia and the Indian Ocean to Eurasia and Europe.